the 7th generation to be born here, and she is married to Tom, and she has 3 children. Christy is a longtime friend of Mr. Lunn, having played music with him for a long time at many benefit concerts and a lot of stuff like that. She's here today to tell her family story in the context of gratitude.
Gracias, merci, danke, mahalo. Those are all words in other languages for thank you. Showing gratitude is really a universal response. And so I am deeply grateful today to be here in front of you to tell our family story. I'm thankful that there are no wasted experiences in our life, that God gives us opportunities to share our stories, and that also God gives life and He creates it with purpose. This is a story of our family. Tom and I have been married 32 years, and we have 3 children. Will was born in 1985, Jesse in 1987, and our daughter Abby born in 1989. In many respects, this story is, our family is similar to your families, but in other respects too, our family is different. When I was pregnant with Abby, they found out when I was 15 weeks along in my pregnancy through an ultrasound that the baby's head was not as big as it should be for as many weeks along as I was. They were very, very concerned that because her head wasn't big enough that her brain hadn't developed, and there was concern about her life, and there were some doctors who counseled us to possibly terminate the pregnancy. Ending the pregnancy was not an option for Tom and for me. We believe that where God had given life, He also creates purpose. And it was something that we really didn't know what would play out in her life. Abby was born in September of 1989, and it was a normal pregnancy. No red flags, other than the fact that her head continued to grow, but never enough. It just kept lagging behind the development of the rest of her body. When she was born, she started having seizures about 2 minutes after birth, and that was due to the fact that her brain was totally smooth. There were no ridges or convolutions in her brain, and they told us later that her brain was actually in seizure state 24 hours a day. They gave her medication to stop the outbreak of those seizures, but really throughout the course of her life, she continued to have seizures. They told us that it was a very poor prognosis for her, that she would not develop, she would continue to stay like a newborn, and that a good outcome would be that she would live to be 2. At the time Abby was born, Jesse was 2 years old and Will was 4. And as I look back on it now, I'm really grateful that, as Tom says, we had 2 severely normal boys at home. And they really kept pulling us back to the fact that there was really something to be joyful about. And we really had an opportunity to give thanks in all circumstances. Abby had many, many health problems in the context of her life, not just because of her seizures, but she had respiratory problems. She was in and out of the hospital. But it was an amazing experience being the mother of this little girl who stayed like a newborn. She never walked, she never talked, she never sat up, she didn't hold a toy. She ate by mouth for the first couple of years, but then after that we fed her through a tube in her stomach. It was an amazing thing to be her mother and to learn what it meant to love unconditionally. That it wasn't something that you could value her life because of the things that she could do, because what Abby did was she laid in a bed. She processed her world through her sense of hearing and through her sense of touch. They said that functionally her eyes worked, the information went in, but there was no ability in her brain to really interpret or respond. If you put a red ball in front of her and moved it, she couldn't track. She couldn't turn her head to voices in the room. But I do know that she knew Tom, she knew her father, she knew me, she knew the voices of her brothers. And that's how she processed her world. The other thing that Abby loved was music. And as Nathan had mentioned earlier, Mr. Lunn and I have been friends for a long time. And I think when Abby was 5 years old, Mr. Lunn would come over to our house and we would play music for Abby. I played the piano and he would bring his sax and Abby would lay in her bed. And I think our brains process music differently, and it was something that really was powerful for her. So music was important in her life. I'm thankful for those times that we had that brought people together around her. We needed a lot of care for her. She was on sometimes 26 doses of prescription meds a day for her seizures and for her respiratory illness. But I have to say, there was so much joy that came through the life of this little girl who, as I said earlier, in the world's eyes, couldn't really do anything. I think Abby was the perfect picture of a human being, because that's what she did. She was just who she was. I think for all of us, we think about what we do and we'd be more apt to call ourselves human doings. But there's such value in who we are as God has created us. I don't think I realized at the beginning of her life the ripple effect that her little life would have on so many people. There were people that came to our home to take care of her. We had wonderful friends and volunteers, people from church who helped just do normal things with Will and Jesse. Took them camping and took them to the mountains and biking and to the library and things that were very, very hard for me because I was home with her care. It was a community of caring people, and for that I'm grateful. Because I think as a parent we like to think that we can do it all by ourselves, but the truth is we can't. If you think your parents are doing it by themselves, they probably aren't. There are probably other people that are helping them and supporting them in some way, and I think that's what the beauty is of community. As I said earlier, we had an opportunity to give thanks in all circumstances. And the amazing opportunity was that we became very thankful for the day. Abby's life hung in a fragile balance. I think she came so close to dying so many times that we weren't really sure when I would put her to bed at night whether she would be there in the morning. But I think that's one of the lessons that we learned, is that what we have is today, and we're grateful for the fact that we have today and we're breathing and moving and living today. As I said earlier too, Abby's prognosis was that she might live to be 2 years old. Right before Abby's 10th birthday, our son Will, who was then 14, said, "Mom, I think we need to have a 100th birthday party for Abby." I said, "What? What do you mean a 100th birthday party?" He said, "Well, you know, because 10 years for her is like 100 years for us." So we had a 100th birthday party and a big cake, and people dropped in, and we really did celebrate a long life for her. I was very thankful that we did that. That was in September of 1999, and the following summer in June of 2000, Abby passed away. And I think I was trying to prepare myself all of her life for her death, but you really can't prepare for that. But there was such gratitude that we felt in having her as long as we did. and just understanding that there was really a greater purpose that sometimes that we couldn't see. In conclusion, I was thinking about, after I looked at the website and looked under gratitude, that there was really an important thing on your website about the 3 parts of gratitude. And the first one is the recognition of a gift received. And I think when Abby was born, Tom and I, and the boys too, we saw Abby as a gift, but we really didn't know how to unwrap her, if you will. We didn't understand what it was that she might teach us or teach others, or the connections that she might give us in a community of, you know, if it hadn't been for Abby, I might not have met Mr. Lunn. We might not have had the opportunity to do benefit concerts for Pathways Hospice and Respite Care. And so there was all this inner working of relationships. The other part, after the recognition of a gift received, is an outward expression of thankfulness. And I believe that we had a daily opportunity to express our thanks to God, our thanks to our friends, our family, our church, all the people that helped us. It was the fact that we couldn't take anything for granted. That we realized that life is fragile. It was fragile for Abby, but it's also fragile for me and you. And so it helped us learn a new perspective. And the last part of that gratitude piece is the repayment of the gift in some way. And so for me, I just have to say I'm so thankful to be here today, to be able to share a little bit of our family story, to share a little bit of Abby's life and what it was that she taught us. There were many lessons that we learned. I'm just thankful that she gave us opportunities to care. She gave us awareness for the things that we often take for granted. And she gave us the gift of simplicity. Abby's life was very simple when you think about her just being in bed and not speaking and not doing anything. And yet there was a peace about her life. People loved to be with her. And that was an amazing thing because it was very hard to define. I'm thankful for Abby. Just the fact that she was my daughter. And again, it's such a privilege to be able to come and stand here today and share that piece of her life with you and a little bit of our family story. I do have a 4-minute slideshow of our family. Pictures of Abby when she was little, pictures of Abby as she grew, pictures of Will and Jesse, and at the very end there's some pictures of Will and Jesse now as grown men with wives and babies. So you'll kind of see a transition there. And then I'll take some questions.
ask a question?
Yes.
So, earlier you heard our ambassadors were talking about an effort they've been doing to try to help our students to make sure that we're honoring families and students and people with disabilities and challenges. Can you speak to that and tell us what you might want us to know from your own experience? How we can honor families and individuals with disabilities and differences?
That's a great question. I think typically that people are uncomfortable or can be uncomfortable and unsure of how to act around young people with disabilities or even adults with disabilities. What I found with our own situation was that I tried to introduce Abby before people felt uncomfortable. I tried to introduce her like I would introduce a Will or Jessie, and just tell people about her. And so I think as a parent, you want people to love and accept your child as typical or as normal, but obviously it's different. So I think if we can just make an effort to meet the person or to say to a parent, could you tell me about your little boy? Or I welcome those opportunities to talk, but it's a fine line. I think just take courage. Yes, sir.
Do you have a fond memory of Abby you can share?
Oh, I have a lot of them. I guess one of the greatest things for me was to be able to just hold her when she was little. And then also as she got older, we had a hospital bed in the living room where she slept during the day. And to just be able to crawl in bed with her and cuddle. That's probably one of my fondest memories. And then you could tell by those pictures of her hair. We never cut her hair. We let it grow throughout her whole life, and she had really beautiful hair. The people that came to take care of her loved to braid it and fix it, and so that's a great memory of mine too. Thank you so much for having me today.
This is our poster. It's super exciting. Okay, so first of all, the people. Okay, our first one is Louis Armstrong. And his quote is, "I want to give back some of the goodness I've received." He was awesome, and he gave a lot of thanks, especially through all of his concerts. So, the next one is Piglet. Okay, it's actually A.A. Milne, but it's one of Piglet's quotes. So, it says, "Piglet noticed that even though he had a very small heart, it could hold a rather large amount of gratitude." So cute. And then the last one is Abraham Lincoln, and his quote is, "All that I am or hope to be, I owe to my angel mother." How sweet. He was awesome, and he even made Thanksgiving a national holiday. So, okay, these are our definitions. Demonstrating thankfulness and gratefulness is gratitude. And then using the foundation stones within the definition, expressing thankfulness throughout thoughtful acts of citizenship.
So these are the drawings we have at the bottom of our poster. This is showing gratitude for teachers by thanking them for their help. Pledging allegiance to the flag, that's when we express our gratitude towards America and freedom. And then we can show gratitude to the school by cleaning up the trash in the hallways and doing stuff like that. And then we can also show gratitude by being polite and kind. Just being, "Hey, you're awesome." Oh, yeah. And then we have the Foundation Stone Award. Mrs. Dietrich, please come give the award.
First of all, I'm so grateful that I had the chance to present this award because the student that is getting the foundation award is awesome. I'm going to start by saying that it's a girl. So they told me not to say it's a girl because it sounded like it's a girl, but no, it's just because I don't want the boys to be all excited thinking I'm talking about them and then be like, oh. Okay, so sorry boys. So this girl, something that you probably don't understand is that we teachers spend most of our day in the classroom just doing the same thing over and over, the teaching and teaching. So when a student every single day leaves your classroom and says like, thank you so much, or thank you, or you give them the homework for the week and they say thank you for like, hey, you gave me the homework, thank you. It feels great, like you just feel awesome. So after like towards the end of the day, when I see this student, she's always really, really grateful and she always says thank you. Also, this is a student that I think shows a lot of justice. My class has some grammatical things that for some students, they can say it's a little bit complicated. I doubt it, but anyways, whenever she always gets things really quickly and she's all the time like helping others. For this reason, not always she gets assigned the seat that she will want. She usually gets sit in places that most other students will complain or whine about a little bit. And instead of whining, she's always being positive and helping others and helping her classmates. Also, she shows a lot of temperance. She's very mature and respectful, and she is always like using her intellect to make the next decision. What am I going to do next? And she shows a lot of discipline too, in and out of the classroom. So why am I saying this? Because she's a dancer, and she will be making us all very proud this year in the Macy's New York City Parade. So Olivia, head this way. Congratulations.
Capstone.
Today it is my duty, nay privilege, to present the Capstone Award, as I am one of the few teachers of adequate stature to do so. Literally. The young lady who receives this award, yes, gentlemen, hang your heads again, could have all the normal superlative things said about her in terms of leadership, being a good student, invested in the community in many ways. But I want to focus on three, albeit abstract terms we don't often hear. Those three are joy, humility, and charity. Well, the philosopher in me wants to wax philosophical on those topics, but I'm going to try to give you some concrete ideas of what I mean by this in the life of this student. This student is in favor of good in the world and believes that existence is good and fun and worthy of humor and life. And that's not always true for everyone. Joy is an attitude of choosing the good, and she has it. Humility, I think, is a right understanding of your place in the world. Above the dirt, but below the heavens. And among many others of great worth and significance. It is an attitude, I think, that is best expressed by the saying, I am not in charge of the universe, and therefore there is no particular reason why I should get my way. Lastly, charity, or love, an outward orientation of self towards others and their welfare. Human life and happiness is worth deliberate effort and the attitude or disposition of charity works towards it. And that has been manifest in this young lady's character. As a result, I am honored, since to honor this student is an honor superior to the honor she receives, though inferior to the natural honor that such honorable behavior secures. And that is an honor that belongs to Maria Lanciati.
So TCAP is the week after spring break. So you guys are out on Friday, then you come back. So listen up. So Monday and Tuesday are normal school days for everybody. Then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 7th through 10th graders, you will be here rocking the TCAPs bright and early at 7:45. So you're going to do great. It's our last year. We'll celebrate at the end. So I want to tell real quick, 11th and 12th graders, juniors and seniors, your schedule. I sent this out in an email, so I want you to look for it. I'm going to send it again because there's one minor tweak. But Wednesday, 11th graders, you need to be here at 9 a.m. So you get a late start on Wednesday, 9 o'clock, and we have to do your ACT pre-administration. So we'll come in here, we'll do all our pre-bubbles for ACT. That's Wednesday. 12th graders, you guys can get here at 10:32 when the bell rings. Thursday, 11th grade, you get a late start. You can be here at 10:30. Seniors, we're going to have a principal's senior brunch for you down at the barn, starting at 9 o'clock. Breakfast made by your principal for you and in your honor. So that'll be from 9 to 10:15. Again, juniors, get here around 10. Listen, please. On Friday, 11th graders, we're going to have a juniors principal's brunch. Junior principal brunch. And so that's at 9 at the barn. And then seniors, you have a late start that day. So look for your email so you see that and you understand exactly what it is. Like I said, there's one tweak. And then in the afternoons, we have a block. We have some really exciting speakers that are coming in to talk to you from the community. A career counselor coming to talk to you about resume building, an HR director coming to talk about interviewing, and a college rep coming to talk to you guys all about student life. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dolces. Okay, we're going to have some, no? Okay. We are going to stack our chairs because the bells are out. Wait. Remember with those notes, there are boxes out here, and there are also chair racks. Thank you again, Christy, for coming in.
everyone remember to thank the speaker, please?
Congratulations.